I knew I was in trouble the moment the most popular guy in school slammed his locker shut and said my name like it was a warning or a prayer. Maybe both. By the time I turned around, Aiden Brooks was already staring at me like he'd discovered a secret I didn't know I had. Aiden wasn't just a star. He was the universe at Franklin High. Quarterback, honor roll golden boy, social gravity itself. People orbited him. Teachers adored him. Girls practically fainted when he walked by. And me? I was the quiet shadow in the back row. The kid who drew on every surface and hoped no one noticed. I didn't belong in his world. I knew that. Everyone did. So when Aiden said, "Evan, wait," in that low, urgent voice, it felt like the hallway cracked open. I froze with my sketchbook halfway shoved into my bag. "What?" I managed, sounding as defensive as someone expecting to be shoved into a locker. But Aiden didn't shove. He looked nervous. And Aiden Brooks was never nervous. His jaw flexed like he was swallowing something sharp. "Can we talk?" he said. And that was the moment everything began to shift, even if I didn't understand it yet. It started earlier that day in art class, when our teacher announced a mandatory creative collaboration project. And because fate is cruel and obsessed with drama, I was paired with Aiden. The class snickered, whispering about beauty and the nobody. I wanted to vanish. When the bell rang and I tried to escape, he followed me. And now here he was, standing in front of me, blocking my exit like a human wall of anxiety. "Look," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm not good at this art stuff, like at all, and I don't want to mess up your grade. So maybe we could work together after school? Your place, my place, wherever." My place? My place where the walls were peeling, and the floor creaked, and my mom worked double shifts just to keep the lights on? Absolutely not. "I can meet at the library," I blurted. He stared at me like he could hear everything I wasn't saying. "Library's fine." But then he added, softer, "I didn't mean to freak you out." He didn't. That was the problem. He confused me, pulled my attention, messed with my heartbeat. I didn't want any of that. I couldn't afford it. Yet when he smiled, small, shy, nothing like the confident grin he showed the world, it felt like something dangerous brushed against my ribs. By the time we met at the library that afternoon, I had rehearsed 100 ways to keep my distance. None survived the moment he sat across from me. He was warm sunlight. I was a shadow, but he looked at me like he saw color. We worked awkwardly at first. He kept tapping the table, humming, fidgeting with a paperclip. Meanwhile, I sketched the concept for our project, trying not to stare at his hands or his eyes, or the way he watched me sketch like it was magic. At one point he leaned in, breath brushing my cheek, and said, "You're incredible, you know that?" My pencil almost snapped. "No, I'm not," I muttered. He frowned. "Who told you that?" "No one has to tell me." His voice dropped. "They're wrong." Aiden Brooks, school legend, telling me the world was wrong about me? What was I supposed to do with that? When we finished for the day, he walked me outside. The sky had turned a deep orange, the kind that made everything feel softer. He shoved his hands into his jacket pockets. "You know people don't really see me either," he said suddenly. I almost laughed. "Aiden, the entire school sees you." "Yeah, they see what they want to see." His gaze dropped to the pavement. "Not who I actually am." I hesitated. "And who is that?" He looked up at me, and for a second he wasn't the star of anything. He was just a boy holding something fragile behind his ribs. "Trying really hard," he said quietly. "Not to ruin things." My chest tightened. I didn't know what he was talking about. Not yet, but a strange ache spread through me, like I was witnessing something sacred. We parted ways, but the silence he left behind stayed with me. Heavy, warm, confusing. I told myself it meant nothing. But the next day he sat next to me at lunch. The day after, he found excuses to talk to me. The day after that, he asked if we could walk home together. People stared. Whispers spread like wildfire. And for reasons I didn't understand, Aiden didn't seem to care. But the closer he came, the more terrified I felt, because the star was stepping out of his sky. And I was afraid of what would happen when he realized I wasn't bright enough to follow him back up there. The rumors spread faster than either of us could keep up with. By Monday morning, every hallway felt like a tunnel of stairs and whispered questions. People didn't ask if something was going on between us. They asked what kind of something. Aiden brushed it off with a confidence I couldn't understand, but I felt like my lungs were shrinking with every glance. I wasn't built for attention. I wasn't built for being seen at all, especially not like this. At lunch he sat with me again, even though his football teammates called him over twice. When he ignored them the third time, one of them yelled loud enough for half the cafeteria to hear. "Brooks, you're ditching us for your boyfriend now." A few kids laughed. Aiden went still. I felt my whole body burn. "It's fine," I whispered quickly. "Just sit with them. Really. It doesn't matter." "It matters to me." His voice was sharp, angry, protective in a way that made my breath stutter. But before I could say anything, the teacher on lunch duty shut the whole thing down, and the cafeteria returned to its normal chaos. Except nothing felt normal anymore. That afternoon, when we met on the bleachers to finish our project, he looked exhausted. Not physically, emotionally, like he was wrestling with something he didn't know how to name. "You okay?" I asked. He didn't answer at first. His eyes were fixed on the empty football field, the sun setting behind the goalposts. "Evan," he said finally, "do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" I blinked. "Every day." He huffed out a breath that might have been a laugh. Then he ran his hands through his hair and looked at me with a seriousness I wasn't prepared for. "Can I tell you something? And you promise you won't freak out?" My heart thudded. "I can try." He swallowed, throat bobbing. "I like you." The world didn't explode, but it tilted suddenly and violently. Aiden, you don't." "I do." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "And I've been trying to ignore it because it complicates everything. My team, my parents, college scouts. God, the whole damn school. But every day I'm around you, it gets harder. And when people were talking today, I realized," he dragged in a shaky breath, "I don't want to walk away from you." My mouth opened, shut, opened again. I felt so many things at once I thought something inside me might break. "You're the star," I whispered. "You have everything. You could pick anyone. Why me?" His answer was immediate. "Because when I'm with you, I get to be real." The vulnerability in his voice cracked me open. I didn't know what to say, what to feel, what to hope for. All I knew was that I wanted to believe him. Desperately. We didn't kiss. We didn't even touch. But something shifted between us. Something deep and undeniable. And then, like the universe couldn't stand us having one peaceful moment, everything fell apart the next day. Someone snapped a photo of us on the bleachers. Too close, too intimate, too easy to twist, and posted it online with a caption that turned my blood cold. "Franklin High's golden boy has a secret." The comments were brutal. Names, accusations, jokes that cut deeper than anything I'd ever heard. By third period, Aiden had vanished from his classes. By lunch, people were whispering that he was melting down in the locker room. By the time school ended, I felt like I'd swallowed a stone. I found him outside by the parking lot, leaning against his truck, staring at the ground like it was the only thing keeping him upright. "Aiden," I said softly. He looked up, and the pain in his eyes nearly dropped me to my knees. "This is my fault," he said. "You're getting dragged into something you never asked for." "Aiden, I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to handle pressure. But this," his voice cracked. "I wasn't ready. I thought I could protect you. I thought I could protect us." I stepped closer, slowly, like approaching a wounded animal. "You didn't do anything wrong. They're going after you, Evan. You." His jaw clenched. "And if I walk into that building tomorrow pretending everything's fine, I'm just proving them right. That I care more about my image than the people I—" He broke off, breath shaking. I reached out, trembling, terrified, but needing to, and touched his hand. He looked at our hands like he couldn't understand how they ended up touching. "Tell me what you want," I whispered. Silence. long, heavy. Then, with a voice like crushed glass, I want to choose you, even if the whole damn world watches. My throat tightened painfully. Then choose me. His eyes closed. He let out a breath that sounded like surrender. The next morning, he showed up early. He found me by my locker, and without asking permission, he took my hand, in front of everyone walking in front of his team, in front of the girls who loved him and the boys who envied him. The hallway went silent. Not one whispered rumor survived that moment. He didn't look away from me once. "You're not a shadow," he said quietly. "Not anymore. Not to me." And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel invisible. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like I didn't belong in someone's story. I felt chosen. Aiden squeezed my hand. "Ready?" he asked. I nodded. Together, we walked into the light. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.